Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CFL this week. The Ottawa Rough Riders beat Winnipeg last night, both teams coming into the game with a record of 2-2. And by the time the smoke had cleared, the Bombers were better than 500. They are the CFL's defending champions, and their fans had been waiting for this explosion. But the Riders were fresh off an upset win over Montreal, and they started with a bang. Bob Cameron's punt for the Bombers, fielded by Ottawa's exciting rookie Derek Zeno, and less than 2 minutes into the ball game, he's off on a dazzling 50-yard return for a touchdown. 7-0 Ottawa, but it is a short-lived lead. Less than a minute later, the Bombers are on the attack. Willard Reeves starts Winnipeg back with his first of 3 touchdowns. This is a 68-yard ramble. Reeves racks up 200 yards on 29 carries, 35-8 at the half. Winnipeg's special teams shine too. Glenn Steele takes the punt 70 yards from pay dirt in the third quarter, and he electrifies the fans with this romp for a touchdown. Winnipeg would score 12 consecutive times before Ottawa could score again. John Hofnagel late in the third quarter through the air, a 38-yard picture-perfect toss to Jeff Boyd. Winnipeg wins handily 58-15. Upcoming games in the Canadian Football League tomorrow on CTV. The Tiger Cats are in Saskatchewan, also on television Sunday, Montreal at Calgary. Next week, Thursday, the Western Riders are in Ottawa to meet their Eastern counterparts. The CTV Friday Nighter has the Toronto Argonauts in Montreal to meet the Concords. Rounding out the weekend, Saturday, Calgary at BC, Lions still unbeaten. On Sunday, those Bombers back in action in Hamilton. The Pacific Western Airlines Stars of the Week are next. This is CTV's Friday Night Football. Les Brown. He led a powerful Ticats defense with an interception and a pivotal second quarter blocked punt. Lineman Star of the Week, BC center Al Wilson. This 200-game veteran set an aggressive tone for a resounding Lions victory over the Toronto Argonauts. Pacific Western Airlines brings you the Stars of the Week in the CFL. Tonight, our CTV profile focuses on the first back-to-back winner of Offensive Star honors, BC Lions running back Key Van Jenkins. While rushing for a club record 206 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns to extend the Lions' unbeaten streak, Jenkins maintained his own position among CFL scoring leaders. His amazing running makes him an electrifying new addition to the BC lineup.
After each game, I usually go home pretty sore. I weigh about 180 pounds, and there are 250 to 270-pound linemen falling on me. So I go home, soak in the jacuzzi for a few minutes, and, just relax. I don't go out and play any other sports simply because of that reason. I try to get my body back into shape for the next game. Usually takes about 2 or 3 days before I'm totally healed again.
By now, opposing defenders might be wishing that Key Van Jenkins weren't quite so healthy and so quick to find the end zone. Perhaps asking themselves what makes this outstanding member of the BC running corps go.
I would say straight determination. Many running backs, there is a drive for him. But with Kevin, he's not as big as most running backs. He got the drive, the determination inside of him, like his heart carries him for extra yards or a touchdown when other people only get like 2 or 3 yards, he'll get 10. Or he makes a touchdown out of a loss or something. It's just natural instinct, I would say.
And that looks like more than enough to carry Jenkins through a tremendous CFL season.
I plan on going back to school in Alabama where my girlfriend, her name is Katie, she's stationed in Alabama. I guess she acts as my personal coach in the off-season. She's in the military right now in the Air Force, and when I go visit her in the off-season, she's very much into health and fitness. She's into bodybuilding and running.
We are experiencing problems with the video portion of our transmission. Please do not adjust your set.
You get out the bed, you know what you have to do, so we work out together, and it really helps me to have a partner who's into it as much as I am.
His partners are hoping for more lightning carries in their quest of a Grey Cup. This Stars of the Week profile has been brought to you by 45 Canadian destinations. This is CTV's Friday Night Football.
Chevrolet first half statistics, 203 yards for Edmonton, 181 for the Argos. It's been quite a football game with a half to go. Bill?
I guess the biggest thing as far as the Edmonton Eskimos are concerned is the fact that Matt Dunnigan was shaken up a little bit, and he didn't play for most of the second quarter. However, Damon Hill took over and did quite well, and it appears that Damon Hill is going to be going in this second half of play, which probably is not bad for Edmonton because it means he gets good experience, and that's always great for a football club, especially in the CFL when you know quarterbacks, your first stringers, are going to get shaken up occasionally. And it's awful good to have those 1-2 combinations. As a matter of fact, it means that they can come through with championships. I meant Damon Allen, of course, is the backup quarterback for Edmonton who is going to go back in there and start off this second half. All right, Pat, I think we're ready to go.
Well, thank you, Bill. You know, you were talking about how you need those backup quarterbacks. Let's not forget that Matt Dunnigan was a backup quarterback to, well, the great Warren Moon. Warren Moon was a backup quarterback to the Hall of Famer Tom Wilkinson, who isn't in the Hall yet, but certainly will be. So the Eskimos are set to kick it off. Dixon boots it down to Jeff Townsend at his 8-yard line. Ooh, and the Eskimos just came flying down there. Number 37, Dave McNeil, was there to down them inside the Toronto 20-yard line.
Edmonton always does an excellent job on their special teams, and I don't think really ever get credit for it. They make very few mistakes, and that time Dave McNeil spent the last couple of years with the BC Lions. Now with the Edmonton Eskimos, came flying downfield, made an excellent tackle.
Well, it's true, they do. Their special teams have always been effective, with the exception of one game against Ottawa. That was probably the worst game they've had in years, and Ottawa really capitalized on it in that victory by the Rough Riders at Lansdowne Park. Mike Hohensee starts at quarterback in this second half. His pass to a wide-open Paul Pearson. He ducks underneath Jeff Teflon. And Pearson is down to the Eskimo 21-yard line. Finally forced out by Cliff Toney, but a 71-yard pass and run play. Mike Hohensee to Paul Pearson, and there was nobody around Pearson at the time that he made the catch.
Well, Jeff Teflon gets caught in coverage there. When the rollout went to the right side, he got caught over there. Paul Pearson sneaks down the seam and just does an excellent job running with the football. Good block there by Terry Greer. 71 yards, and what a way to open the second half for the Toronto Argonauts.
They have the ball at the Edmonton 21-yard line. This is the way the first quarter started, except it was the Eskimos. The pass is caught by Terry Greer at the 11. He'll have another first down. Forced out by Darrell Hall, number 24, the cornerback on that side. Terry, I was just going to say, that's only the third catch of the ball game by Terry Greer.
Well, good ball control offense here. Quick out to Terry Greer, picks up a first down, and back-to-back first downs have the Toronto Argonauts knocking at the door.
Ball is right at the Eskimo 10. Hohensee for Greer, neatly broken up by Darrell Hall. Tell you, if Hohensee had just floated that ball, chances are Greer would have had his 7th touchdown of the season.
Well, you know what so often happens is Mike Hohensee probably doesn't get a chance to run the first team in practice a heck of a lot, and maybe just doesn't realize how much speed Terry Greer has, that he can lay that ball way out in front of him and let Terry go and get it.
We are experiencing problems with the video portion of our transmission. Please do not adjust your set.
Line with a second down. Pass to Carinci. Touchdown, Argonauts. Closest man to him was John Daly, the linebacker from Auburn. You've got to assume that it was his man.
Well, once again, they get that matchup they want. A slot back on a linebacker, as Paul Pearson's touchdown was in the first half. This is exactly the same play to the other side. Only difference, Jan Carinci picks up the TD.
So the Argos take the second half kickoff and march it right into the end zone, and now resume the lead once again.
Boy, Pat, this looks just like an instant replay of the opening of the ballgame.
You're right. The big play, of course, was the pass to Paul Pearson, but here's the touchdown to Jan Carinci. The Argos lead at 26-21, and we'll be back with their kickoff in a moment. Pearson, who really did set up that scoring drive because he carried the ball 71 yards on one play. But the Argos only needed 4 plays to get it into the end zone and resume the lead at 26-21. And that Toronto Argonaut Sunshine Girl is obviously pretty delighted at it.
I would say Paul Pearson's hamstring problems are over.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was too bothered on that play.
Always feel good when you're going good.
That's true. Hank Olisic prepares to kick it off for the Argos. Puts it high, not too deep, to Chris Skinner at the 6-yard line. Well, Skinner broke a tackle inside the 20 and got it out to about the... Randy Rabansky was down there, and so too was William Mitchell, number 39. The return was 18 yards by Chris Skinner. And so the Eskimos start right at their 25. This is their first possession of this second half. It was 19-7 at the end of the first quarter, and then it was 21-19 Edmonton at the half. They scored all the points in that second quarter of play, 14 of them. If you've just joined us, Matt Dunnigan was banged on the head, and so Damon Allen is in there as the quarterback. And on his first possession of this third quarter, he picks up a time count violation.
Time count violation, Edmonton number 9. First down repeated.
So he starts now back at his 20-yard line. Allen came in. His first 2 or 3 passes were really great-looking tosses. And then he ran into some problems later in his first drive. That came in the second quarter. He whips this one in there to Rick House. And House has a first down as he carries the ball all the way to the 44-yard line. James Reed, the middle linebacker, number 70, was there to bring him down. But the gain was 25 yards on the pass that was drilled in there to Rick House.
Well, that was a good throw, and like he did in the second quarter, completed a really pretty hook pattern to Rick House. Does it once again.
Well, if you're a cornerback, though, for any defense, you've got to be terrified when you see Brian Kelly on one side, Chris Woods on the other. This time they run the draw, but there was no room for Milson Jones because Rod Harding was in the hole, number 77, and he just held his ground and made the stop right at the line of scrimmage. Rod Harding, a rookie from Oklahoma State.
Well, Pat, they wanted to go with 2 rookies on that left side, Rod Harding and, of course, Clyde Glover. Glover did not pan out, and Mark Seal, Canadian, played with the Ottawa Rough Riders, getting his chance to start.
They have a procedure call here as the pass goes over Brian Kelly's head. Appeared to me that the left offensive tackle pulled up out of his stance. That'd be Heck Pottier, but let's see who it is. It is a procedure penalty against the Eskimos, all right. The Argos will decline it because it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Procedure, Edmonton number 63. Declined, 3rd down.
Wow, the old carrots that you suggested I started eating are really working.
You're sharp tonight, Patio. But you know what happens? Damon Allen, like Mike Hohensee, probably has not had a lot of time running the offense, and Heck Pottier probably just is not used to a little different cadence than Matt Dunnigan might use. Little voice inflection probably just made him pull out of his stance a little early.
Big kick by Dixon goes over the head of Jan Carinci, who has to take it at his 9-yard line and then is snowed under as he gets to about the 12. So Hohensee is going to be in a big hole here as he comes out onto the field with the rest of the Argonaut offensive unit. That was a 55-yard punt by Tom Dixon and only a 3-yard return. Should the CFL team rosters increase the number of Canadians? If you feel that they should increase the number of Canadians on the roster, you dial 1-900-720-3720. You think they should just stay the way they are? 1-900-720-4720, and there is a 50-cent service charge. Hohensee's toss goes to Kerry Taylor. Taylor gets to about the 18-yard line, picks up about 5 yards. He's an interesting case. Went to the San Diego Chargers as a running back. They switched him to a defensive back. Came to Toronto. He's been a defensive back. They switched him to offense. And Kerry Taylor, coming into this ball game, had 30 receptions, and he was tied with Terry Greer for the most pass catches, but now he's running the football as well. Owens's pass right on the money to Thad Jemison. That was a good-looking throw by that rookie quarterback and a good catch by Jemison in front of Mark Jackson.
Story on Matt Dunnigan as far as Jackie Parker, the head coach, is concerned is this. It's a possibility he could come back, but it sounds to me as they don't really want to play him, but he is starting to feel a little better, and if Allen continues to have problems out there, Dunnigan could return in this game.
Owens's pass to Jemison was good for 19 yards. First down, Toronto. And this time he's going deep. But unfortunately, it was over the head of Jemison, and so it goes incomplete. Again, Mark Jackson, number 5, was on the coverage.
So getting back to Kerry Taylor, as you mentioned, they knew he was a good athlete when they brought him in on a 21-day trial last year. They just weren't sure where they were going to play him. He was a defensive back, as you said, and they had him at slot back earlier this year. Now with the deletion of Lester Brown, he's running out of the backfield, but, you know, really shows how they can detect talent. They knew they had a spot for him. They just had to find where to play him.
Over the middle, and this one is picked up by James Bell. Bell gives Edmonton possession in Toronto territory at the 52-yard line.
Well, really a pass that should not have been thrown. Trying to hit Paul Pearson down the middle in the seam, and James Bell was in perfect coverage, and no way that ball could have been put in there, and he comes up with the interception, giving Edmonton Eskimos excellent field position.
That's the 4th turnover by the Argonaut offense, and the big play was made by James Bell, the rookie from New Mexico.
And let me tell you, fellas, he's got a lot to learn. I said, have you ever played in cold weather? James says, no, but they keep telling me about it, how cold it's going to be. He says, I've never played in anything but the heat.
Well, he's got something to look forward to come November.
Yes, indeed.
First down, Eskimos at the Toronto 52. Argos lead at 26-21. This is Nelson Jones, the ball carrier, inside the Toronto 50 to about the 49-yard line. Have a pickup of about 3 as Neil Lumsden now checks into the ball game. Bob Obilovich saying, can we hang on to this thing? Can we even our record at 3-3?
You know, Pat, he is one of the most positive people you will meet in coaching. No matter what moves are made, no matter how many critics he may have, he never wavers from his stand.
Well, there's no question he has a great knowledge of the CFL. He's been around it since he played back in the 60s. This one was very nearly picked off by the middle linebacker, James Reed, but he couldn't squeeze it.
You know, we told you at the opening of the show we're going to keep a close look on James Reed, and I'm going to tell you how he was performing tonight. It's the first time, really, we've mentioned his name, and that drilled him right in the chest, almost knocked him over. But really, with the scheme that Edmonton's been using tonight, we haven't had to talk about James Reed. He has been involved in many of the plays.
Well, Franklin King is one of the reasons he's in there. He's not playing in Franklin's spot, but Franklin King, who was the starting defensive tackle, was released from last year. I gather he'll be with Hamilton when they play in Saskatchewan tomorrow night.
Well, I tell you, you've got to have an alert mind to keep track of these roster changes in the CFL.
Got a compliment?
Yes. Carinci dodges his way out over the 20 to about the 24-yard line, so the Argos will start there with 8 minutes and 38 seconds left to play in this third quarter. Toronto leads at 26-21, and we'll be back in a moment. It will not be won by Martina Navratilova. She was defeated today by Claudia Kota-Kilch. And so tomorrow we'll have the ladies semifinal. On Sunday it'll be the ladies final. It all comes to you here on CTV. What a day for sports tomorrow as well. We'll also have that Hamilton at Saskatchewan football game for you. First down, Toronto from their 24-yard line. Hohensee fires it over the middle, intending it for Jan Carinci, but it was a bad pass. It goes incomplete.
How about Sunday? Ladies final, Montreal at Calgary. Great doubleheader there as well.
Calgary fans, if they want to see a fine football club too, should go out Sunday afternoon, because that Montreal team is finally starting after 3 or 4 years under head coach Joe Galat to reach the status he knew they would, and they're a team to be watched this year.
On second down, Hohensee puts it up for Jemison, who is there. A flag comes down. We're going to have an interference call against Mark Jackson. Well, there was no chance the pass was going to be completed, but maybe it was because Mark Jackson interfered earlier. I didn't see.
Defensive forward pass interference. Edmonton number 5. First down.
I didn't see the collision, did you?
I didn't, quite frankly, I didn't, Pat. Nevertheless, the Argonauts get a break on a play that should have gone incomplete. Now they've got a first down.
Boy, and it's a big play, too. They pick up 19 yards. The ball now at their 43-yard line. There's the reverse to Terry Greer. And Greer gets another first down into Edmonton territory before Cliff Tony just collars him around the neck and drills him out of bounds. But the reverse works for 15 yards.
Sure appeared as though this play was going to go a lot further as Terry Greer got out in the open field. Got a good block right there by Tony Antunovic. But Cliff Tony, with some excellent speed, catches him and collars him from behind.
So the Argonauts leading it by 5 points are on the move once again with the ball in Edmonton territory at the Eskimo 53. Hohensee fires for Carinci. He makes the catch despite a big hit from Laurent Delorier. You call that concentration, and you also call it willing to sacrifice yourself to make the catch, because Carinci is still down. The pickup is 21 yards.
Well, Pat, you called him a gamer, and what a perfect term to describe Jan Carinci. Fabulous catch.
I'll tell you, somebody else who did an excellent job on the play was Jeff Inglis, who was able to neutralize Stuart Hill and afford Mike Hohensee, the Toronto quarterback, an opportunity to deliver that ball. You know, the way Carinci plays, I'm amazed that he gets through 5 or 6 games in a season because he's taking hits all over the field, but he is a tough customer.
Well, they love him here in Toronto. You can hear the crowd give him just a wonderful ovation as he leaves the field. And, boy, who wouldn't like a guy like him? Rover, slot back, halfback, holds for the kicker. I mean, he does everything but sell popcorn.
And also a local boy who went to school at Maryland and had a fine career there. First down, Argos at the Edmonton 34-yard line. Touchdown, Jeff Townsend. Mike Hohensee from the University of Minnesota finds Jeff Townsend all alone for the major score, and the Argos have upped their lead to 11 points.
What a perfect throw that was. And Jeff Townsend sneaks in behind Cliff Tony on the out and up, and great throw by Mike Hohensee.
The point after by Lance Chomick is good. And the Argos lead is now 12 points. A beautiful touchdown pass from Mike Hohensee to Jeff Townsend. Townsend, another local Toronto boy. The Argos lead at 33-21, and we'll be back with their kickoff in a moment. All season long, 3 of them have gone for touchdowns. 1 catch tonight. It goes for a major score. As a result, the Argos are out in front by 12 points, 33-21. And that 86-yard drive only took 4 plays.
Well, Pat, we selected him as our Carling O'Keefe offensive game star a few weeks ago in their big win over Hamilton when he had 2 of his 3 touchdowns in that ball game.
Olysic's kickoff is deep. But Chris Woods is going to bring it out of there. Olysik saved the touchdown on the tackle of Chris Woods at the 52-yard line. 56 yards the return. Watch it. It's a beauty.
Well, he just gets the seam. 33, Rick House makes a good kick-out block there, and then it's just a foot race. And I'll tell you, Hank Olisic does an excellent job making the tackle there.
You know, Hank impressed me.
Oh,
the fact that he was able to get over there.
Well, listen, Hank's a good athlete. Don't let him fool you.
First down, Eskimos at the Edmonton 52-yard line. The handoff is to Cowan. Cowan just fires through there. Dropped the football. The Argos have recovered at their own 48-yard line. Darrell Wilson, who has a couple of interceptions, also comes up with the football recovery.
A great piece of running here by Larry Cowan. Good hold. Good block by Rick House, but the ball comes loose. I believe it was number 13, Darrell Wilson, who stripped it and made the recovery himself.
So the Argos, after that touchdown, come right back with a fumble recovery and have possession at their 47-yard line. 6 minutes left to play in this third quarter. Toronto 33, Edmonton 21. On the draw, Bob Bronk is wrapped up early by Danny Bass, number 30.
Yeah, funny, I think that's the first time we mentioned Danny Bass's name tonight. And with the Edmonton Eskimos trailing by 12 points, they've decided to blitz and come after the quarterback a little more. That time, Danny Bass coming through on the blitz and making the play. But there's Darrell Wilson. And, you know, each defensive team gives points for certain aspects of the defensive game. And for fumble recovery, strips, interceptions. And Darrell Wilson's going to have a lot of points after tonight's game.
Second down, about 12 yards to go. Argos. Hohense's pass is caught by Kerry Taylor for the first down at the Edmonton 52-yard line. He went high in the air to make the catch in front of Jeff Treflin.
You know, when you're trying to move the football, you've got to come up with the big catches, and what a tremendous catch that was. Turned his body around in the air, great control, and that's a big catch by Kerry Taylor.
Hohensee has looked much sharper tonight than he did again against the BC Lions last week. Mind you, he's been in camp an extra few days.
Well, that's true, and he's stepping up in the pocket. The offensive line's doing a good job giving him time to throw.
First down, Toronto. Again, that little counter, and here's Jan Carinci on the move down to the Edmonton 32. Cliff Toney finally brings him down, along with Mark Jackson, but it's another big Toronto first down, a gain of 20.
You take a look at this Edmonton bench, and they realize if they don't stop the Argos here, they are in a very, very tough spot. It'll be hard to come back if another touchdown's put up for those Argonauts.
Boy, what a tremendous block that was by 69 Dan Ferroni on number 30, Danny Bass, to spring Jan Carinci free on that slot back trap.
Hohensee over the middle for Carinci, who was all alone. But unfortunately, Hohensee couldn't get it to him.
Hohensee had the hands on the helmet after he released that because he knew he had an instant 6 if he could have feathered it in there. Unfortunately, just a little overeager and led him too far.
But the Argos have started this second half in an impressive fashion with Hohensee at the controls. They lead it by 12.
I think the big thing is that that offensive line is really giving him the time to throw.
Hohensee has another Toronto first down at the Edmonton 10-yard line. A 21-yard run by the rookie Toronto quarterback. Well, you know, we were all surprised that Coach Obilovich took Mark Cassell out of the ball game, but he obviously knows these guys, and Hohensee has been very impressive, particularly in this second half.
Well, he told us yesterday that he thought Hohensee was a much better runner, and if he needed that scrambling aspect in a quarterback, he was the one he wanted in there.
Hohensee looking for Thad Jemison. Did he come up with the football or not?
No, I think it hit the ground first, Pat.
I think you're right, Bill, although there's a lot of jumping around down at the 1-yard line.
Well, let's have a look at it.
I'd like to see that one more time.
It's really difficult from that camera angle to see if he came up with it. Referees are having a meeting. Let's have one more look here. The ball is definitely tipped.
But does it ever hit the ground, or does it land on his stomach?
It might have landed right on the stomach of Thad Jemison, and that's exactly what the referees have determined.
Don't try to do the play-by-play, okay, Bill? The ball is right at the 1-yard line. So it's second down, a yard to go for the touchdown. Argos with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in this third quarter. Well, the Argos definitely jumped, and that's going to cost them a very valuable 5 yards.
I think Dan Ferroni started a little early. He should have had the ball.
Absolutely. There's that pass that Thad Jemison was given a reception on. The ball was popped up in the air, but Jemison was able to corral it when it hit him on the stomach.
See, Dan Ferroni's still thinking about the time he had the ball and was running with it.
So the ball is back at the 6-yard line now. Now, Kerry Taylor ended up on the seat of his pants, and the fans are upset. They feel it should have been a pass interference. He came right out of his shoe. But I don't know. We'd have to see it again.
Well, let's have a look. James Bell gives him a little grab on the goal line, continues on, and you have to turn around and try and play the football. I don't know. He got the hand on there. Kerry Taylor did trip, but he still had the hand on him. I don't know. That's a tough call to make. Fans don't like it, I know that.
But Lance Chomick will come out now and see if he can drill another one through the uprights. Bobby, how has Lance done so far tonight? He's 1 for 2. This one will come from the 13-yard line, and he puts it up and through. So the Argonauts now increase their lead to 15 points with 2 minutes and 32 seconds left to play in this third quarter. In this quarter, the Toronto Argonauts have 11 first downs. The Eskimos only 1. The Argos have marched for touchdowns of 92 and 86 yards, and then a 65-yard march that was culminated with that field goal by Lance Chomick.
The interesting part has been the way clubs are coming up with quarterbacks who look so brilliant. Hobart, who was not considered good enough to start for Hamilton and then got in against Montreal and turned into a terror. And remember, you'll see him tomorrow as Hamilton's in Saskatchewan. Then you've got Montreal in Calgary on Sunday, both on CTV.
From the 35-yard line, the Eskimos begin. Allen going deep for Marco Sinkar. And he makes the catch at the 33-yard line. He got in behind Bo Metcalf, and Marco Sinkar was able to squeeze it. I had to wait for a moment there because I didn't know if he had dropped it on the way down.
That was a great throw by Damon Allen. Just led Marco Sinkar perfectly. Juggles the ball, but hangs on. And well, that's a big game for Edmonton. They've got to get themselves back in this ball game. They trail 36-21, but a big play like that can turn things around in a hurry.
Well, it was a 41-yard pickup, and if they can put this one in the end zone, they are right back in this ball game because we've got a long way to go. 2 minutes and 7 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Rod Knupp is the injured Edmonton Eskimo, their left offensive guard.
Well, getting back to what I was talking about, the way that suddenly clubs who looked like they had no quarterbacking are finding quarterbacks who dazzle. Hohensee, who has taken over here for Cassell, who is considered the man who would replace Conrad Holloway when he was injured, and Ricky Turner, who had been number 2 but also is on the injury list, and they were just waiting for Ricky to get back. And now Hohensee comes in, and obviously from his performance thus far in this game has become number 1 among the active and healthy quarterbacks with the Toronto Argonauts. And then, as we said, Hobart, who came in and did the job for the Hamilton Tiger Cats against Montreal. So suddenly coaches, and I think to their amazement, are unearthing some very fine quarterback talent, because if they are not amazed about it, they should be, or they should have started them.
Well, plus the fact that the more these young quarterbacks play, the better they obviously are going to become.
That's a very good point.
You know, as evidence, those who watched last week's game when BC was here, Hohensee looked like he should have been back in high school, but then 1 week later he comes in and looks particularly sharp.
It's been a long time, though, Pat and Lee, that I can recall where so many clubs seem to have backup quarterbacks who can come in and do a respectable job.
Tomorrow, the ladies semifinal in the Players Tennis Challenge will come to you here on CTV. Then at night, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who just looked outstanding in Montreal last week, will take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Then on Sunday, we'll have the ladies final in that Players Tennis Challenge, followed by the Calgary and Montreal football game from McMahon Stadium in Cowtown. First down, Eskimos at the Toronto 34. Allen's pass looking for Chris Woods. Touchdown, Eskimos. A brilliant catch by Chris Woods with Bo Metcalf all over him. There is a penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage. And it looks as though this is coming back.
Oh, that's a shame, because what an outstanding throw that was by the youngster David Allen.
Edmonton number 32. First down repeat.
Neil Lumsden is called for holding. The touchdown is wiped out.
Well, let's see if we can see. Lumsden splits off to the right of your screen and can't really see what happens, but nevertheless, that's just an excellent throw and great concentration by Chris Woods.
Well, they rule that Lumsden held Dan Rasovich, the linebacker who was blitzing on the play. And so now the Eskimos are backed up to the Toronto 44. First and 20. Allen comes right back to Marco Sinkar, but it's tipped away by Bo Metcalf.
And that's the deception of zone coverage every once in a while with a young quarterback. He assumed that Sinkar had one-on-one coverage back there, but he didn't realize it was really a zone, and Bo Metcalf had dropped off, and he came up with a nice play to knock that ball away.
Larry Cowan comes into the ball game. Milson Jones, who came over to Edmonton from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, is out. Incidentally, congratulations to the Blue Bombers. That impressive victory over Ottawa last night.
It's good to see Tom Clements get rolling again. He had a nice night.
So did Willard Reeves. The ball is dropped, but Allen was able to grab it back in as Walter Ballard was all over him.
Well, that's what they hoped to get from Walter Ballard when they acquired him from the Calgary Stampeders in the compensation for quarterback Joe Barnes, and he's given that to the Argonauts this season. Good pass rusher from that defensive end spot. That's the third sack by the Argos, the first by Ballard and two by James Curry. Ballard actually stripped Allen of the ball, but it bounced right back into his hands. Fourth sack on the season for Walter Ballard, and they really are looking to him to anchor that defensive line, along with, of course, number 74, James Curry. Dixon's punt, a high twisting spiral that Brazeley allows to bounce into the end zone and grabs it and concedes the single point. You could tell his American training, though. He faked the special team unit that was coming down to cover on the play. The ball bounced over into the end zone. Well, didn't make much difference because Edmonton can't down the ball on the 1 yard line anyway, so I think he went through the act for nothing. So the ball will come out to the 35-yard line. You see, the problem with that play, of course, is that somebody can down it. The punter can for a touchdown. So from the 35-yard line, Mike Hohensee will direct that Argo offense with just 14 seconds left to play in this third quarter. An underhand shot to Bob Bronk. And Bronk just gallops his way out to midfield. Jeff Pfefflin finally cut the legs out from under him, but Bronk had rambled all the way to the 54. Argos do an excellent job setting this screen up. Allow that defensive line to get the penetration and then peel off and get out in front of Bob Bronk. Number 69, Dan Ferroni, gets an excellent block. There's Tony Antunovic out in front, and that's just an extremely well executed screenplay. And it picked up 19 yards. This will be the final play of the third quarter. Boy, he can run. He really can. Picks up another first down, or very close to it, as the third quarter comes to an end with the Toronto Argonauts out in front of the Edmonton Eskimos 36-22. This is CTV's Friday Night Football. Headlines, they are hoping that their offense can keep possession here at second down, a yard to go.
as we begin this fourth quarter of play. The toss goes to Kerry Taylor. A flag comes down. Taylor would have the first down as he crossed inside the 45-yard line. But it's obviously a holding penalty against the Argos.
This kid Taylor comes by his running ability, honestly.
Toronto number 66. Second down repeated.
Because he was a running back in college. There you have the third quarter stats. The Chevrolet third quarter stats, and the first downs are very heavily now in favor of the Argos, 22-12.
Well, the holding penalty against Kelvin Prunster means it's second down, about 12 yards to go. Hohens, he puts it up for Paul Pearson. He was given a rough ride by James Bell as he's down at the 45-yard line.
That's a great read by Mike Hohens. He saw the blitz coming. He knew, I've got to get rid of this thing quickly. Paul Pearson across the middle, and he really takes the hook from James Bell there. Well, that's roughing. Got to call that. You get that hook up in the face mask. I think the referee's got to make that call.
They didn't get the first down because of the penalty, but they got it because of the fact that Paul Pearson showed his determination and got to the yard marker right at the 45-yard line. So it's first down, Toronto. They lead it 36-22. We have just begun play in the fourth quarter. There's that little counter again to Pearson. And Pearson is inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. And the Argos look as sharp as they have looked in any game this season. 21 yards the gain.
And a great block by Tom Trefo, number 50, and an excellent cut by Paul Pearson. Boy, he's having himself a whale of a game. That big 71-yard pass reception to start the third quarter, and now an excellent run on the slot back trot.
Another first down for Toronto. Owens sees pass to Terry Guerra, diving grab right at the 6-yard line. Well, the Argos just playing with a tremendous amount of confidence at this point in the ball game.
And Mike Owens, he just making the right reads every time. He's on the blitz once again. He's got the post to Terry Greer and rifles that ball in there. Mike Owens, I've been impressed with the way he's handled himself on the field tonight. He's put together some excellent drives.
As we say, he did play in the USFL. I believe it was Washington, wasn't it, Leaf?
I'm not sure, Pat.
Floats it up, intended for Terry Greer, but it goes incomplete.
But he's just been able to feel that blitz every time it's coming. He's called the right play. Once again, the blitz coming. That's the right pattern to call. Just that little wide up to your outside receiver.
Well, we had a pass interference call against the Eskimos. And so it'll be half the distance to the goal line, which is the 3.5-yard line.
And here comes the short yardage team. James Curry will come in as an offensive end along with number 39, William Mitchell. Well, yep, Dave McNeil got caught for holding there. He nearly undressed Jan Carinci as he was trying to go across the field.
Kerry Taylor does not get into the end zone because Cliff Toney just showed you what that defensive alignment of the Eskimos is made out of. He was determined that he wasn't going to let him in there, and it appeared as though Taylor was going to walk in initially.
Well, he's got some excellent speed, Cliff Toney, and Taylor thought he could get to the outside, but as we saw earlier, when Cliff Toney caught Terry Greer from behind, he's got some excellent speed. That's a great play.
Argos are inside the 2-yard line. Second down. Kerry Taylor Leach does not get in.
Edmonton got excellent penetration.
Another penalty marker on the field, and it is against the Eskimos. Well, you've got to feel sorry for Edmonton because they're just showing you the determination they have.
Edmonton, number 24, first down.
Darrell Hall is called offside, so it is first down, Toronto. The ball at the Edmonton 1-yard line.
Oh, that's too bad because John Daly, number 44, has had a tough night in pass coverage. Just made a whale of a tackle on Kerry Taylor to keep him out of the end zone.
Hohensee keeps it himself and is in for the major score. Well, it's a real uphill struggle now for the Eskimos. They trail by 20 with the point after yet to come.
Good surge on that left side. Dan Ferroni. Kelvin Prinster paved the way for Mike Hohensee's second touchdown of the season.
Lance Chomik's point after is good. The Argos now lead it 43-22, and we'll be back with the Toronto kickoff in a moment. Mike Hohensee has really ignited this Toronto offense. He's completed 12 of 19 for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's rushed the football 3 times himself for 33 yards, 1 touchdown. But listen to the drives he's engineered. 92 yards for a touchdown. 86 yards for a touchdown. 65 yards have resulted in a field goal, and 75 yards for a touchdown. Mike Hohensee has become an instant star here in Toronto, and he's only played a quarter and 3.5 minutes. Kickoff by Olisic bounces down around the 20-yard line. And finally, the Eskimos decide they better fall on it at the 18 because that ball is alive to everybody who's on that unit coming down. John Mandarich, number 75, just fell on the ball. Mandarich, incidentally, is another Toronto area boy. He's from Oakville.
Went to Kent State. Been with the Edmonton Eskimos now for 2 years. Originally an offensive lineman, but it was so difficult to crack that fine offensive line that they have. They switched into defense, and he's been a starter.
Jim Corrigal, a former great Argonaut, was also a graduate of Kent State. Eskimos begin from their 18-yard line. Allen's pass is caught by Brian Kelly, who is forced out at the 35-yard line, but it'll be an Eskimo first down.
David Allen's got a good arm on the run there. He really drilled that ball, and Brian Kelly, as he usually does, ran an excellent out pattern.
It's only Brian's second catch of the evening, which tells you the Argos must be doing quite a number on him defensively. The clock now, of course, is as big an enemy as the Argonauts. 10 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the ball game, and the Eskimos trail by 3 touchdowns. And again, we're going to have a time count violation against Edmonton.
David Allen tried to check off the play. Didn't like what he saw at the line of scrimmage. Went to an audible. Unfortunately for the Eskimos, just took too much time.
Time count violation. Edmonton number 9. First down repeated.
Well, they're at the stage right now where they can't make too many more mistakes like this. They've got a little over 10 minutes remaining. Trail by 21 points. Got to try and get some sustained drives going.
First and 15 from their 30-yard line. Allen fires it into the middle. Goes incomplete, intending it for Larry Cowan.
A nice job by number 70, James Reed, the middle linebacker. He just dropped back deep in his zone coverage, read the quarterback, and then reacted when the ball was thrown. Made a good hit on Larry Cowan, forcing him to cough up the football.
Bob Obilovich played in the Canadian Football League for about 6 seasons with the Ottawa Rough Riders. He was with them when they lost to Saskatchewan in the 1966 Grey Cup final.
You say he was pretty tough at defensive back.
I'll tell you, he could hit a ton. I saw him one night when he cracked his helmet in a game against the BC Lions. Pass intended for Rick House is over everybody's head.
That's too bad. He had Rick House wide open downfield, but running to your left's a lot more difficult to throw than running to your right, and that time Damon Allen just sailed that ball over everybody. The Argonaut secondary's taken some heat this year. Said they've given up far too many yards, but other than that, first quarter disaster that Chris Woods took 73 yards. I can't really remember the secondary giving up too many more long passes. They've done a good job. Well, the one to Marco Sidcar in the third quarter. That was about 40 yards.
Well, the whole defensive unit has really played well in this second half. They've only given up a single point. Dixon's punt will be handled by Carl Bracely, who's back inside his 20, trying to get to the outside. Well, he ran a long way to give up about 8 yards. So the Argos will be starting deep in their own territory when we return, but they lead the Edmonton Eskimos 43-22.
Play of the Toronto Argonauts defense is this young man, Mark Seal, because he was put in a defensive tackle, and Bob Abilovich said if he can do the job, he said, I think our defense is going to do a real good number on Edmonton tonight. Joe Moss, coach of Ottawa, let Mark Seal go with the Ottawa Rough Riders, and the comment he had was, we'll see if his philosophy on life has changed. He obviously didn't think that Seal devoted enough energy toward the life of football, but he has been obviously, as we say, doing the job tonight.
Ball carrier is Jan Carinci, and he gets to the line of scrimmage not much further before he ran into Danny Bass. Bass, of course, started his CFL career with the Toronto Argonauts after graduating from Michigan, then went to Calgary and now to Edmonton.
Yeah, nice job by Danny Bass. The inside linebacking spot, pretty good spot for him. He's a 3-4 kind of linebacker, not really what you'd want if you had a 4-3 middle linebacking scheme, but he's got that range to play the good pass coverage and make the good tackles like you saw just there.
ONC fires. Paul Pearson was not able to make the catch. Hit him in the shoulder pads and bounced away.
You know, gentlemen, there are a lot of players out there to start choosing the O'Keefe Game Stars from. It's going to be a fairly tough task.
A lot of guys in Toronto played well defensively tonight. James Curry, a couple of sacks.
It was a funny game, though. The Eskimos started out quickly, then the Argos bounced right back, took a big lead of 19-7. Then the Eskimos scored 14 points in the second quarter, led it at halftime, 21-19. Now the Argos ran wild in the third quarter, lead it 43-22, and appear to have this one well in hand as Chris Woods takes it at his 50-yard line. And he had absolutely no place to go, and I think he did the smart thing, just buried himself.
Well, you talk offensively, you have to look towards Paul Pearson. It was that big 71-yard catch that got the Argonauts out of the gate quickly in the third quarter. He's had a good run on the trap and really ignited this team here in the second half. 4 catches for 90-some yards.
Mike Hohensee has come in and just done a whale of a job. As you take a look at the next time the Edmonton Eskimos will play at home, they have about 13 days off before they meet the Saskatchewan Roughriders on the 23rd of August. Allen's pass. A flag comes down. We're going to have an interference call on Carl Bracely, who made contact with Rick House a little bit before the ball got there.
Oh, yeah, no question about that one. Damon Allen threw it into the hole where he thought Rick House would end up, and Carl Bracely just came over the top and collided with him.
Pass interference, Toronto number 2. First down.
So the Eskimos now have possession inside the Toronto 40-yard line with 8 minutes and 5 seconds left to play in the ball game. They need touchdowns in a hurry. They trail by 21 points. The Argos all were coming on that occasion. Dan Rasevich was there. So too was Walter Ballard, James Curry, William Mitchell. Damon Allen had absolutely no chance.
Looked like a team meeting in the Edmonton backfield there as they all came through. Dan Rasevich, the first one really to make contact, but any one of 5 could be credited with that sack.
Ball is now back at the Toronto 48-yard line. For Rick House, and he overthrew him. Boy, this really tightens up the races east and west, though. Winnipeg and Edmonton tied for second in the Western Conference. Toronto and Montreal tied for first in the Eastern Conference, with the Concords to play on Sunday in Calgary.
You know what, Pat? I'm really going to be interested to see how the Montreal Concords react in their game on Sunday. They had that tough loss out in BC, and then, of course, last week took a pasting from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I just want to see how Joe Galat and his troops react from that one.
I want to see how Hamilton reacts tomorrow, too, because they were so impressive with Ken Hobart in Montreal. This is going to be a 55-yard field goal try by Tom Dixon. And it's short, bounces into the end zone, and Carl Brazeley will be content, I'm sure, to give up the single point, but he's going to make them come to him. And he kills a little bit of time. As a matter of fact, we're down to 6 minutes, 33 seconds left to play in the ball game. The Toronto Argonauts lead it by 20 points, 43-23. And Bill Stevenson at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, where the Argonauts have just exploded in this second half. And they're on their way to their third victory of the season, leading the Edmonton Eskimos 43-23 with just 6:33 left to play in this ball game. Thad Jemison caught a couple of impressive looking passes, and I'm sure that he'll be on the roster for the next week or so. That's the way you've got to look at this Toronto team. You never know.
You're never quite sure from week to week.
Well, except that Bob Abilovich figured that this was his lineup. He says if they perform like I think they can, he says this is the way we're staying.
Kerry Taylor, the ball carrier, gets out to the 53-yard line. The Argos, of course, took over at their own 48 on that 55-yard field goal try by Tom Dixon that went for a single point.
Well, Sunday we'll be in Calgary, and tomorrow night our Western counterparts, Dale Isaac, Frank Rigney, and Al McCann will have the Hamilton, Saskatchewan game for you from Taylor Field. Should be a good one.
ONC fires for Terry Greer, who was just a little bit high, and when he tried to bring it down, it went right through his hands.
Boy, that's the kind of catch we've been so accustomed to seeing Terry make routine. Got great soft hands, but unfortunately that time just couldn't bring it in. Good throw, though, once again by Mike Hohensee.
Terry Greer has caught 4 passes tonight. That gives him 34 on the season. And, of course, he leads the league in yardage gained. Should the CFL team rosters increase the number of Canadians? There are the numbers to call. If you vote yay or nay, it'll cost you 50 cents. Oh, Lisick just booms one. Chris Woods at his 3-yard line. Nice to watch Chris Woods run. He got it out to about the 18-yard line with just 5 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the ball game. Well, now, Leaf, let me ask you this. Did the Argos make a lot of adjustments at halftime from what you've seen here in the second half, or did they simply execute better? The big adjustment, of course, was putting Mike Hohensee in at quarterback. But
well, obviously that was a big adjustment offensively. He's had an excellent second half, but defensively they've struggled in their first 5 football games, and tonight what they've done better, they haven't beat themselves. They haven't given up the big play except that 1 touchdown pass to Chris Woods. They've played better as 12 men on the field. They played their zones well, and they've done a good job and really frustrated the Edmonton quarterbacks.
One of whom, Damon Allen, just got the ball out to the 25-yard line, but he'll be short by about 3 yards.
Hey.
Well, that's either Bill Stevenson or the Argos' new mascot, the Argo Bounce, they call him. This is his introductory night.
No, I think that's Bill Stevenson.
Well, he moves like Bill there, you can tell.
He's got the good footwork. Well, Bill's a good dancer.
He wouldn't let me wear his uniform. I'm mad. He looks a little like Pat, though.
He's built like me.
It's like a pear.
Second down, about 4 yards to go. Allen fires. Rickhouse couldn't make the catch at the 40-yard line. It would have been a first down.
That's too bad. That's a ball Rickhouse should have caught, and he knows it. He read the zone coverage perfectly, found himself in the open hole. Damon Allen couldn't have thrown it any better, and boy, House should have made the catch.
Boy, this sets up some game in Montreal next week, though. On Friday night, we'll have the Toronto Argonauts playing in Montreal against the Concords. And there's no telling how many people could be in the Olympic Stadium for that one, because if Montreal ever wins in Calgary, look out, there could be 50,000 in Montreal.
Oh, and I love to see that. they'd make a little noise, wouldn't they, at the Big O?
They make a lot of noise when there's only 18 in there.
That's true.
Good punt by Dixon. Taylor back at his 34-yard line. And Kerry Taylor's got to be a pretty tired fellow tonight. He's had a lot of action running the football, running pass routes, returning punts. Gets that out to the 41-yard line. Chris Skinner was down to make the tackle for Edmonton, and that brings us to 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in this ball game. At the conclusion of the game, we'll give you the result of our poll, and we'll also tell you the Carling O'Keefe offensive and defensive game stars. With Toronto leading it by 20, you can put this one in the record books. Kerry Taylor, the ball carrier, picks up maybe a yard before he runs into Dan Kearns, number 95. And of course, on running plays, they just crank up the clock again, and it's moving.
I'm sure Mike Coates, he's been instructed by his head coach there, Bob Abilovich, keep everything simple now. Don't give up a turnover that could let Edmonton in the back door.
Now the Toronto quarterback is sacked back at the 36-yard line. In there was Frank Balkovec, who played his football at the University of Toronto. 43-23, the Argos lead it, and we'll be back in a moment. On third down and about 14 yards to go with just 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the ball game. Hank Halisic will be punting.
Only one man back for Edmonton. I'm sure they're coming hard after Hank.
We are experiencing problems with the video portion of our transmission. Please do not adjust your set.
Chris Woods has it inside his 30 and is forced out by Dennis Clay. Well, let's see how the East has done against the Western Conference in interlocking play. This will be the 7th victory for the Eastern Conference against 9 losses. The victory by Winnipeg last night over Ottawa means that the Western Conference leads the East 9 victories to 7. This will be the 7th victory by the Eastern Conference, so it's much closer than it has been in previous years. Montreal last year did well against the West. They're doing well again this year. They're 3-1. Eskimos start at their 27-yard line. Allen's pass is complete to Dan Runge. And the big guy at 6'9" from Guelph University is out to the 38-yard line.
How about that 6'9", 250? He blocks out the sun on an afternoon game.
Nice young fella. I had a chat with him before the ball game, and he told me that he'd like to be living out in Edmonton if he can get something going in the off season.
Not a bad target.
If they have a basketball team there, he should certainly apply. Ball is at the 39-yard line. First down, Eskimos. The clock is running. We're down to 2 minutes left in the game. And going for Brian Kelly deep, but the ball is over his head.
Pass intended for Kelly, incomplete.
It's going to be a short week for the Montreal Concords because they will play on Sunday in Calgary. Then they'll come back and play the Argos next Friday. So tough time. The scheduling is tough in the CFL, as evidenced by the Ottawa Rough Riders, who really had a short week going into Winnipeg. And it showed on the scoreboard.
I think it showed. I was just going to say that.
And let's see, did he get out of bounds? He did. But, you know, talking of that Ottawa-Winnipeg game, there was no question that the Blue Bombers were full value for the victory. But football's a funny game, isn't it? Ottawa got an awful lot of bad breaks early. Otherwise, that could have been an interesting ball game for, you know, far longer than it was.
Well, they sure did. The bounce off the helmet, the catch that Joe Poplawski made, I think really got them down in a hurry. And they're a young team, and things like that can really disrupt you.
Well, of course, when they surrendered the ball, when Wayman Aldridge dropped it down on the 1-yard line.
Yeah, that was big.
Because they would have gone back into the lead at that point. Dixon punting, gets another good one away. Carinci awaits at his 16. The flag comes down as Carinci is dropped by Larry Ruck at the 20-yard line. And all this happens with 1:38 left to play in the ball game. Penalty is against the Argos. The ebb and flow of a football game is a strange thing, though. Let's hear the call.
Illegal block, Toronto number 2. First down.
Carl Brazeley called for an illegal block. I mean, the Eskimos totally dominated the second quarter, led at halftime 21-19. Looked the better of the two teams at that point. Argos come out, just blow them away in the third quarter.
You know, Pat, I think you could always pin it down to one or maybe two plays that really turn a football game around, and there's no doubt in my mind that the big play in the ballgame was that 71-yard pass reception by Paul Pearson. He got them off to a good start, and they've never looked back in the second half.
There was another big play when Matt Dunnigan was injured, because when you take him out of that Edmonton roster, I mean, you can see the difference between the rookie quarterback and Matt Dunnigan, who just knows how to win. I mean, he knows how to generate offense.
Well, we don't know how severe his injury really is. Jackie Parker thought it severe enough not to play him in the second half, and you know, you have to agree with that decision. Only in the 6th game of the season. It's a long way to go.
And, of course, they're off for, 13 days now, so it'll give them a lot of time to rest up. Hohensee runs it himself, gets out over the 25, has another first down. And the moment they spot the ball and referee Ross Perrier blows the whistle, we'll have time moving along.
I'm not so sure Bob Abilovich is too excited about Mike Hohensee running the football at this stage of the game. He's been a very pleasant surprise for Coach Abilovich, and would not like to see him injured at this point.
We're under a minute left to play in the game now. First down, Toronto. Bob Bronk, the ball carrier. And Bronk is over the 35 to about the 36-yard line for a pickup of 8. Laurent Delorier and Darrell Hall were there to bring him down.
Boy, he is a load when he gets steaming around the corner, isn't he? 6 foot, 215, graduate of Queens. Would not want to be in his way when he gets angry.
And he suffered a severe knee injury last year, and then he was injured. Was it last week's game? And then it appeared as though it was the knee again, but fortunately it wasn't. Because Bob Bronk is so important to the offensive scheme of these Toronto Argonauts. Clock is running. Under nearly 35 seconds left to play now. Hohensee keeps it himself, and he should have another Toronto first down. And if he does, which he does, according to referee Ross Perrier, the Argos will be able to run out the clock. Toronto 43, Edmonton 23. Argos, with their 3rd victory of the season against 3 losses, have moved in to a temporary tie for first place with the Montreal Concords, who have only played 5 games. And in the Western Conference, the BC Lions have played 5, won 5. Edmonton and Winnipeg are 3-3. Well, let's make Winnipeg 3-2 and Edmonton 3-3. And Saskatchewan will have an opportunity to move into that 2nd place tie tomorrow night. Hohensee took the pass from center, just stepped back a couple of yards. And we have but 1 play to go. Well, a lot of people in Toronto are going to be very surprised at the outcome of this game, because when Condredge Holloway was injured a couple of games back, many people suggested that was the season until his return. But Mike Hohensee has come on here tonight and really been impressive.
Well, there's no doubt they were bitter about the way they lost that game out in Edmonton. They said, hey, they robbed us. And we wanted to try and show them something, and I guess they did tonight. 43-23 is a pretty good victory.
There's your ball game. The Toronto Argonauts have defeated the Edmonton Eskimos 43-23. Now let's bring you up to date on that poll. Should the CFL team rosters increase the number of Canadians? Yes, you said, by a 3-1 margin. 75% yes, increase the roster with Canadians. 25% said no. An impressive victory by the Toronto Argonauts tonight. A disappointing loss for the Edmonton Eskimos, but the season is young, They're in good shape. They're tied for second spot in the West. And they've got some time now to regroup and come back and play the Saskatchewan Roughriders on the 23rd. Let's go downstairs and meet the winning coach.
Well, the winning coach beside me is Bob Obilovich. And Obi, the question we have to ask you is, were you surprised at the performance of Hohensee?
Well, he's looked really good in practice, and he's had some experience with our offense, and he's probably got a quicker release and just does things better in that kind of offense probably than Mark does. But Mark was moving the club well early in the game. When he threw that interception, I just about died, and then he seemed to get a little rattled in his drop back stuff and where he was moving and throw the ball, and that's when we decided to get Hohensee in there and, you know, get back into the ball game.
Well, he played just great, Hohensee, and he's the offensive star. Where did you get him from?
Well, we knew about him in college. We followed him through college. I knew about him when he was a senior there, and I knew that he was the type of quarterback that might be good in the CFL. The way he moves, he's a quick guy, good athlete. And we followed him, but he signed with the Federals. And then he went to Saskatchewan in the preseason. In fact, we'd had him on our negotiation list, and we took him off, and Saskatchewan ended up signing him a couple weeks later. And we just kept our eyes on him, and when things happened with Conridge and Ricky got hurt, you know, I just kept him in the back of my mind. We brought him in for a look, and well, I'm glad we have him.
Suddenly you have a riches of quarterbacks. What did you do going into the second half? Did you change anything?
No, not really. We just had to execute better. We moved the ball the first half until Mark started having some problems. Actually, I thought our offensive game plan was excellent. Our coaches did a heck of a job. Dick Tomore and Roger Thomas on offense, and Sam Sanders and Dennis Meyer, they've been working hard on defense, and we still got to eliminate those big plays, and I think our defense will be a good football.
Well, that's what you said all along. You took a little heat, but you said, I'm going to make my changes, and I think that this may be my lineup.
Well, I felt good about it all week. The guys worked hard in practice, and I like the looks of the combination of people we had there with Kerry Taylor and Jan in the backfield and Jamison at wide receiver. That just looked really good in practice, and I was just hoping that our defense would pull together and do what you have to do to win football games.
We'll look forward to the game next Friday in Montreal.
We'll be there.
Congratulations, Coach Bob Obilovich. So with the final score, Edmonton 23, the Toronto Argonauts 43. CTV's Friday Night Football will continue in a moment.
And now, the Carling O'Keefe Sports offensive and defensive game stars as selected by our broadcast crew. From the Toronto Argonauts, quarterback Mike Hohensee is the offensive star. And from the Argos, defensive halfback Darrell Wilson is the defensive star. Each of tonight's outstanding players will receive a portable stereo system, compliments of Citizen Electronics. Chances are someone you know owns a Citizen. This is CTV's Friday Night Football.
The offensive star of the game and just played himself a tremendous ball game. Mike, when you go in like you did, and being a rookie with the Argonauts, are you a little nervous?
Yeah, I was a little nervous. I've actually only been running their offense for about a week and a half. But when you got experienced receivers like we have here, they helped me out a lot. And, you know, they did the right things, what I was taught that they were going to do, so they didn't mess me up at all, and that helps a lot.
Mike, you played a little pro ball, of course, a couple of years with the Washington Federals in the USFL, and you came out of Minnesota University. So, really, you're used to being in the hot spots. But I'm wondering, when you went into this ball game tonight, what you were hoping to do, what you were looking for?
Well, I didn't really expect to play today unless, you know, Mark did something wrong, and I didn't really think he was playing that bad, but he had trouble moving the team a little bit in the second quarter, so the coach decided to put me in. And all I can really do at this stage right now, since I'm so young, is just do what they've taught me, make the basic reads and go out there and try not to make as many mental mistakes as I can.
What a performance. You were 12 for 21, 240 yards, 2 touchdown passes. You ran 5 for 47 yards, and you ran for 1 touchdown. Do you like running with the football?
Well, I ran a little bit of the option in junior college, but if I had my preference, no, I wouldn't like to run the ball. But if that's what I got to do to help the team, that's what I'll do.
What's the biggest problem about coming in with a club fresh like you have done and then being forced into a game?
Well, if it was any other club, it wouldn't be as tough. But the Argonaut offense is so complicated that it takes a lot of adjustment. You just can't step in and learn the offense. And that's what I just need to get a lot of reps in and work with the receivers, work on the timing with them, what their moves are, what they're thinking in certain situations, and go from there.
Now, when you say so tough, what do you mean? Do you mean the run-and-shoot style offense or what?
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's so many options that we do off each route. You know, we don't have one route just drawn up, and that's where we're going to run it no matter what. Different defenses dictate what we're going to do, and that's what I got to know all the options to that.
And a lot of quarterbacks coming up from the States have a little trouble with the fact there's an extra man out there. Do you?
Not really. I started off in Regina when I first got up here to Canada, and I was there with a guy named Joe Palpo, and he helped me out a lot in reading these defenses.
So all you need is experience.
That's right.
All right. Well, Mike, it's very likely you're going to start in the big game next Friday against Montreal, and I'm sure you're looking forward to that, as it'll be a battle for first place.
Yes, I am.
All right. Mike Hohensee, congratulations. A fine performance. Our offensive star of the game, and CTV's Friday Night Football will continue in a moment.
Hey, what's going on in here, man? Everything's gonna be all right. I know it was a tough day out there and everything, but we're gonna make it this year. We're gonna work hard this year, and the blue wave is gonna be rolling, baby. Ooh. The work is tough and the days are long. I've been working out and getting strong. We're pushing hard to reach our goal.
And the blue wave is on the roll.
We've got the others on the run, and we won't lay back till we're done. We're aiming for the Super Bowl,
and the blue wave is on a roll.
Step right up, line right up, give the ball a high, then run it in, turn and spin, and give that ball a spike. Shotgun pass and let it soar, hold it in the Seahawks score. We work as one 'cause we're a team, and now we're reaching for a dream. We're aiming for the Super Bowl, and the blue wave is on the roll. Each and every time the ball is flipped, the pass is tipped, the man is hit, the ball is stripped, yeah. We've got the others on the run, and we won't lay back till we're done. We're aiming for the Super Bowl,
because the blue wave is on a roll.
Getting Ready was brought to you...
West Division.
Now let's meet our other commentators in the booth, Dale Isaac and Frank Rigney.
Thank you very much, Al. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Regina. And there's no doubt Ken Hobart is definitely the story for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And, of course, he came into last week's game, started against Montreal, knocked off the Concords at the Big O. What does he bring to the Hamilton offense, Frank?
Well, Dale, I think one big thing he brings is the ability to run with that football. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are very concerned about his ability to get outside. I know for a fact that Hamilton has put in draw plays and plays that are specifically designed to take a look at that running ability of this young quarterback. But I think Saskatchewan has some great outside linebacking cores that may well be able to contain him. The other thing, from the other side of the football, though, the Hamilton Ticats need a bigger rush. Grover Covington has 2 sacks, and he leads the ball club in that way. Ben Zambiazzi has moved back from his outside spot to the middle linebacking spot, and these are the 2 guys really that have to put the pressure on.
As far as the Saskatchewan Roughriders go for 1985, Joe Paupow definitely the story, averaging almost 400 yards per game passing. But Joe has a bit of a calf injury, and we're not certain at this point if he's going to be able to go the distance. Tremendous stats to start this season, so we may see Homer Jordan if Joe is not healthy enough.
Well, Joe has moved the ball extremely well, as I say, between the 20-yard lines. He's only thrown for 4 touchdown passes, but he is the leader in the Canadian Football League. They'd like to keep him in there as long as possible. Homer Jordan, on the other hand, a great running threat, and has been slated, actually, starting 1985 to be the #1 quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But Joe Paupow stepped in when he was injured in preseason, and he just hasn't been able to get him out of the lineup.
Of course, the Hamilton Tiger Cats do like playing at Taylor Field. You recall last year they came in here, they knocked off the Riders, knocked Saskatchewan right out of the playoff picture in the West, and then they went on to the Grey Cup themselves. They haven't lost here since 1982. Should be a good one tonight, Hamilton and Saskatchewan.
This CFL telecast is brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Sports, bringing the sports world home to you.
For 7 years, we shared the place kicking duties.
Yeah. Hold it, Steve.
I did the holding, Jack did the kicking.
Give me a hand.
Now we're sharing Miller Lite.
It's brewed right here in Canada.
We drink it because it tastes great.
No, we drink it because it tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Hold it. Right there. Hold it yourself.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Ken Lazaruk is the head official tonight here at Taylor Field as we get set for this contest between the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Saskatchewan Roughriders. And, of course, all games in this weekend number 6 in the CFL are interlocking as you take a look at the East Division standings. Toronto's big win last night over the Edmonton Eskimos, led by Mike Hohensee. They knock off the Eskimos and move into a first-place tie with Montreal. They'll meet next Friday night on CTV's Friday Night Football in the Western Division standings. You see how important this game is to Saskatchewan. They could move into a 3-way tie for second place with a victory here tonight. Dave Ridgway will kick it off for Saskatchewan from his own 45 as this football game is now underway. And it'll be Howard Fields from his own 2-yard line on the return. Oh, he's got good blocking and a lane up the sidelines. And Fran McDermott finally brings him down near the 40-yard line. A 37-yard return by Howard Fields and the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense.
Watch a great block by Poncho James, number 34, leading his teammate up the field. McDermott makes a tackle finally at just about the 39, so Hamilton pretty good field position. Wind will be a factor in this ball game as far as the kicking game is concerned, but they've been throwing it very well in the pregame warm-up.
Led by quarterback Ken Hobart. 1st and 10 Tiger Cats from their own 39. A handoff into the middle goes absolutely nowhere as Billy Jackson was there to stop Poncho James. He actually did pick up a couple of yards on the play to the 2nd down and 8. Poncho James coming into the ball game with 153 yards rushing. He got 120 of those against Montreal last week.
Not a bad night. As you look at that defensive unit who has put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback so far.
8 sacks last week against Calgary. Hobart in a bit of trouble, and now here's his running ability. It's wide open for him. He's going to go a long way. Needs a block against Eddie Ray Walker, and he's down inside the Saskatchewan 25.
Well, Dale, we talked about right before the ball game.